Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. My name is Sean Sweeney. I'm the Director of Operations at the Center for Nonprofit Advancement. I'm excited to kind of announce, already been announced, but really kind of get further into the fact that our Excel Award process this year has wrapped up. We have a great list of finalists this year, one winner of true honorable mentions. We're joined today by one of our honorable mentions, so you'll meet more in a second. But we, at the end of each of our award processes, release a series of best practice videos. And these are designed to really kind of take out the really awesome nuggets that we've learned from our finalists over the course of the months long process and really kind of, make it available to the nonprofit sector so it can all be an educational and capacity building experience for everyone involved. So that's what we're doing here today. The next thing I want to do is introduce Ian Schuman, who's a partner at GRF, our award sponsor, to talk more about GRF and their sponsorship. So Ian, over to you.
Thanks, Sean. I'm Ian Schuman, outsourced accounting partner at GRF CPAs and Advisors. GRF is an independent CPA firm performing audit, tax, client accounting, which is where I am, and risk advisory services. We're longtime members of the center and longtime part of the DC nonprofit community. We sponsor this award to recognize excellence in nonprofit leadership because we understand how hard it is for these leaders to do what they do and the broad range of skills that they need to do it. There is so much we can learn from them, and that's the idea for this video series. So today we're talking to Julie Fabzik-Swartz from the Employee Assistance Professionals Association.
Great. Thank you so much, Ian. And thank you to GRF for their continued sponsorship. I also want to say before Ian pops off that Ian is a member of our selection committee. So I want to make sure to say thank you to them as well. They're a really hardworking group of people who really make the award process what it is. So thank you, Ian, and our other selection committee members. Okay, so thank you, Ian. Julie, let's get started. We're going to refer to Julie's organization as EPA, but you heard it from Ian that it's the Employee Assistance Professionals Network, but it'll really be EPA moving forward in this video. And like I said, there are multiple videos, but this one is really focused on kind of challenging the status quo in a new organization. So when an organization is, looking to fill an executive director position, there are different qualities that they could be looking for in a candidate, of course, and sometimes that could mean a subject matter expert related to specific mission of the organization, or it could mean finding someone with fresh eyes and the necessary, business or financial acumen to help turn an organization around. And in this second case, it could mean that this new leader might need to learn some of the ins and outs of the mission area upon joining the organization. And that's what we're going to talk today with Julie about. So Julie, I know before your time at EPA, you've had a few other kind of lives in your career.
Yes.
So can you just give us a quick kind of rundown about your professional history and also maybe how you ended up at EPA?
Well, my nonprofit background has toggled back and forth between the traditional nonprofit world and the athletic world. Prior to this, I was the executive director of the National Postdoctoral Association. I'm not a PhD, so like you said, you have to learn the lingo and the mission. I also ran the Collegiate Soccer Officials Association, and I was also the head of what is now known as artistic swimming, also known as synchronized swimming, the Olympic sport. Also in my past lives, I've worked for 5 higher eds and a lot of youth development agencies that I really believe in their missions. And in my other life, if you can see behind me, I am a women's gymnastics judge. I even judged NCAA national championships in Texas last spring. And I've just come out with my first book called Parenting a Gymnast. Reach out for it. I can put a shameless plug in for any parents who are interested in getting their kids into sport. It gives them all the information that my parents didn't have when I was an athlete. So, so that's kind of what we're doing. I'm also on the board of directors as a volunteer for the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, helping them make our sports world safer for all our kids.
Great. Thank you so much for that. So talking more about kind of coming on board at EPA, can you talk us through kind of how you determined, and I guess really it kind of applies to joining really any organization, but can you talk us through how you determined what items to focus on, when you arrived and needed to learn more about the mission and kind of the trade in your area of work in for this association as well.
Well, when you first come on board, it's like anything. You got to really sit back and close mouth, open ears. And I love a tip for new executive directors and CEOs. I'm new. Please educate me. It works really well for about a year, but it gives you a doorway into a lot of areas that maybe people don't feel comfortable. Like, who's this new person? Why are they want to be here? I'm new. Please educate me about your committee, what you're trying to accomplish. Um, that and a lot of reading, a lot of talking to a lot of people, a lot of information that you kind of have to just take in and kind of let sit and ferment in your mind and your gut. And then I'm a big fan of the book Good to Great. Have you read it? Jim
I have never
Collins?
read it, but I've read like excerpts of it and know of it. Yes.
Okay, so I'm a big Jim Collins convert. The enemy of a great organization is a good organization because you get very comfortable, and we've always done it that way. Why wouldn't we always do it that way rather than thinking you never know where that $1 million idea comes from? It may come from the cleaning crew. You never know who has a brilliant idea and is willing to share it, and you can hit the ground running. I'm a big believer in getting the right people on the bus, getting them in the right places, and then exploring all sorts of options. I also am a big fan of strategic planning, which was one of the first things we did in this organization. Still doing and finding new ways to implement new things, and we will probably be in this plan for about 5 years, which is really a long time. Back in the day, you would have a long-term strategic plan, and I think 9/11 really changed that things change. Give an example, COVID changed how we were doing business. So we need to be, I always say you need to be quick and nimble like a PT boat, turning fast, but because that cruise ship doesn't turn really well. But you also need to have the passion, the class, the power of that cruise ship. So you can find a balance between the two. It really works well.
Great, great. And I know one thing specifically you did as well, because obviously your organization is like a very specific mission. You actually went ahead and studied for and got the certification that a lot of your members have. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I didn't do that right off the bat because I was
Okay,
just so ingrained in trying to understand what they did well and what they didn't, and then
got it.
figuring out where that was and figuring out what the numbers were and figuring out where they were successful and how to keep that, as well as where can we have opportunities for growth. But, by the second year, I did go through our certification, which is the SEEP, Certified EAP, so that I could even, not only talk the talk and walk the walk, because I think I could even do most of that pretty well on my own, but it gave me oh, of course she's one of us. And
Hmm.
that's important. And quite frankly, our staff is now all doing it. Our director of education just got her SEEP and her SAP, which is the substance abuse professional. She's putting out programs for it. She's able to now be one of them. So we should have all of our staff done within the next year or two with our SEEP. So I
That's
really
great.
believe it. And, professional development is the name of the game.
Yeah.
You've got to keep growing or you stagnate and die. So whether you're an organization or a person.
Great. Yeah, we love to hear that too at the center. We're of course, very big on professional development, capacity building. So thank you for saying that. My next question is, okay, so you're on board. You've taken some time to learn everything, but there were a few things that you determined, needed to be changed once you had that chance to really kind of like dive in and look through everything. So I'm wondering if you can just provide a couple of examples of things you did, notice need to be changed and then change them. And then how did you like kind of appropriately manage that change, either, with staff or board too?
So one of the things I did, of course, as most new leaders do, is read your bylaws, and found out my entire board could leave at one time. Oh my God, the whole board could leave at one time. So we spent about 6 months collecting all the input of what was wrong with our current bylaws, because when you do that, it's a major undertaking. But I was very blessed to have a great leader in Sherry Cordemange, who now works for Magellan Healthcare, and she headed up first she started with our bylaws planning committee, and she led that. And she was a person who was wonderfully meticulous and could really dot the i's and cross the t's. And now we have a board that a third rolls off and a third roll new is voted on every year, so that we are never without institutional historic memory, and projects that are working. Maybe a person or two might leave, but we never leave the whole committee. So that has really helped a lot. It also has given me sanity. Another thing I did, and I have to confess that some of these ideas, I used to say I steal things from other organizations. I benchmark now. I'm going to take you on. But
Got it.
we had just traditional professional membership. We had some newbies for students and some senior memberships, but we went through the membership categories, and I instituted an organizational member. So an organization come a member at a relatively low cost per person and a sliding scale, and we could put all those members up under that umbrella. So my philosophy, and I say this over and over, is I play long ball. I don't make any money on that member coming in at a low cost. It's pennies, but I'm hoping they come to our conference and they take an education course and they get their seat and they get involved in whatever opportunity is going on in the organization, and they grow professionally. So it helps not only our numbers, but it also helps our community, and then it also helps our bottom line. So it's a win-win-win all around. So those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. How do we help our mission grow, but also make it a win for the organization? Other things I did was went through the books with a fine-tooth comb. It's amazing how many things get left, subscriptions, things that you haven't needed in years that you just auto pay for. So there's a tip. Really get to be friendly with your books. Went through our website and revamped our entire website. We had 978 pages of website. We now have 250. A much more
Much more manageable.
Yeah, it was people. And we also have a system now where every year each committee has to go through their pages and do like 4 pages a year, so that none of it gets stagnant. It gets updated. We don't need this, or we need to rewrite this, or we've changed that. So it isn't out of date and almost 1,000 pages of headache.
That's
So
great.
that's some of the kinds of examples of, it just takes a lot of work, but I'm blessed with some great volunteers and some great staff members that really just eat, sleep, and breathe our organization. And I'm so blessed to have them in our group.
Well, that's actually a perfect segue to our final question already. This is going so quickly, but coming into any new workplace, you have to kind of toe the line of getting to know the culture, but also as a new leader, maybe wanting to potentially make some changes to the culture. And of course, you came on during the pandemic too, which is like a whole other level. So talk to us about kind of when you were entering, how did you learn the culture, but then also maintain or adapt certain aspects of it in a new fully remote environment? And I guess also to piggyback on that, bringing up what you just talked about was getting buy-in from people as you were thinking about making some changes.
Well, quite frankly, I never went in saying, "Oh, I'm going to get rid of this staff member, that staff member." They had a really good team, but quite my style was very different than my predecessor, who was a wonderful man. Greg DeLapp was an awesome, still is an awesome individual, and still a volunteer. In fact, he co-chairs our development committee. So, it's not that one was right or one was wrong. It's just we needed to evolve, and we need to evolve in a very business way, or we weren't going to be around much longer. So, we started increasing the demands on the staff, and some had been there a long time and just were burnt out, felt like they just needed a change, and there's no harm in that. Some just one retired, and as my former president Dan Boissonneau said to one of our staff, the days of your CEO putting your favorite candy on your chair every morning is not going to happen anymore. You need to hit the ground running. We're lean and mean and moving at a much higher speed than we ever did. And the people, like in Good to Great, you choose to stay on the bus or you choose to get off the bus and find something else. So we still do have some staff that are from my previous before me, but I also brought on, as openings happened, brought on a lot of folks that I had worked with previously. I'm very blessed that I have a relationship with people who've worked with me in other nonprofits that still want to come really put it together and make a difference in the missions that I've been able to facilitate success with. So and we've been very successful. Our entire team went to our conference in Indianapolis this year. Boy, that team works so hard. I don't know, those who run big events, you don't appreciate it, and people don't know how the sausage is made. But they're up at 5 in the morning. We're up at 5. That conference table is open at 6. The funny story was about is someone came by at like 6:30 or 7 and went, "Oh, they're not here at night." I'm like, they've been here since 12 hours is enough in one day. But the team really works really hard and totally burns out and collapses at the end of it because
I'm sure.
and then also being a mental health organization, we kind of practice what we preach. It's okay to take a mental health day. We give you plenty of vacation. We want you to take time off. I close the office from Christmas to New Year's. Take the time off, recharge. We have an EAP even for our small office. We still have EAP access for our staff if they need it. And we want them to come in excited about being at work every day. If they're miserable, then it's no longer a fun job and they need to think about maybe ways to fix it or ways to move on. And I'm good with that. So it's a different kind of field, but we really feel hardly that we are making a tremendous difference in the work. The other thing is that I want to say and brag that we have 100% staff giving last year and this year. For those in the development field, that says something. The people who are not EAPs are putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congrats. Okay, well, Julie, that was my last question. So we're going to end here. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our long process to get to the end here. And I'll say congratulations again as well on being one of this year's honorable mentions. Everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, this is just one of a few videos we're making this year. So feel free to keep an eye out for the other ones and tune into them when they're up. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Julie, thank you again for joining us. And we'll see
Thank
you.
you. I want to say thank you to the sponsor, the committee, and congratulations to the colleagues who won in this process. 2 other great nonprofit leaders. So the center was very blessed to have all the talent that got applied.
Definitely. We had a great year this year. So yeah, thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.